Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, Shri Nirmala Sitharaman, along with DT Aayog CEO Amitabh Kant, recently launched this program, National Monetization Pipeline, which essentially envisages unlocking the potential of union assets and then generating a revenue of 6 lakh crores over a period of 4 years from 2022 to 2025, and which essentially means it's about 1.5 lakh crore per year. And then the idea is to feed this particular revenue stream into another program which they termed it as National Investment Pipeline, under which the union government is planning to invest about 111 lakh crores over a period of 5 years from 2020 to 2025, and which essentially means it's an investment of 22 lakh crore rupees per year, which is a significant step up from our historical investment in infrastructure, like I think 2.5% increase, 2.5 times increase than what we used to invest historically in infrastructure. And the union government estimates that this particular investment would increase the GDP by 2 to 3%, which is a very significant increase, and there is a potential to do that. For example, there's a huge potential of like USD 94 trillion for worth of investments for infrastructure, of which in the entire world, of which 50% is the requirement in Asia itself, and again within Asia only India and China needs the majority of that particular investments. So the NIP would fit into that particular potential very well, and that's I believe that's the idea behind this entire program, that we tap into that potential, and then which would help us take our GDP by 2 to 3%, and essentially that would open up a lot of other avenues, and employment opportunities is being one of them, right? So this is the plan in entirety, like, and it's a cycle, like where an NMP kind of unlocks a certain revenue potential, and that revenue gets fed into NIP, and this cycle will continue, and under NMP, the assets which would go, which we given under lease. That's the plan. It's not sale. It's a lease, and the Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, Nirmala Sitharaman, as well as NITI Aayog CEO Amitabh Kant, had repeatedly said this, that it's not a sale but a lease. So please do note that it's a lease, not sale, and this particular revenue will then get, as I said, gets feed into NIP. Then the question arises that, will this revenue stream alone is enough for funding NIP? Definitely not, because you can clearly see NMP generates only 6 lakh crores, whereas the requirement for NIP is more than 100 lakh crores. All right. So the plan here is 80 to 85% of NIP would get funded through traditional sources, of which 15 to 20% comes from the center's budget. Another 24 to 25% comes from the state's budget, and another 40% would come from private investments. Could be banking institutions, or could be in NBFCs, which is non-banking financial institutions. So the remaining 15 to 17% will be generated through NMP, which is about 6 lakh crores, right? So that's in a nutshell about what NMP and NIP is, and what is the plan in terms of the budget around these two programs. I hope things are clear until now. Please do let me know in the comments if something is not clear. I would definitely try to make it much more clearer. So, what is asset monetization as a concept? Uh, Asset monetization can also be called as asset recycling or capital recycling, wherein the government institutions or the public sector institutions would unlock their dormant assets, or maybe dormant, or maybe generating some value, but not full potential of that particular asset. Uh, these assets are then are given as a lease or sold to different entities who would then that would then generate certain revenue potential or revenue streams. Uh, that's the concept and the approach which the union government is taking for realizing the asset monetization is a bottoms up approach wherein various ministries and in line have put across their assets that could go under NMP, and an evaluation committee has processed this particular list of assets and validated them, and uh, I believe this process is ongoing. It's not yet done. So ministries would furnish that data, and that will be validated, and and a certain revenue has been estimated. Which, and as I said, 6 lakh crores is an estimated value, but not a realized value, right? The value will only be realized when these assets are actually go through the process of lease. That would take some while. Yeah, and the estimates also tells us that the majority of the revenue is coming from 3 sectors, which is rails, railways, roads, and power sector. And the other sectors like the sports, warehouses, etc., happens to be much smaller proportions when compared to roads, railways, and power sector. And yeah, that's how the plan has been envisaged. Another important factor in these uh, contracts that would be signed in the process of lease are what are the considerations that should go into this contracts, right? So government has been pretty clear, essentially, for the parties which are interested to take up these assets, that they should be considerate and well aware of these following factors, of which essentially government would definitely would want to play a significant role in pricing these assets, or when I say pricing, essentially the end consumer pricings. It could be the toll booths and stuff, wherein government do not want to lay a heavy burden on the end consumers. So government would definitely have a say in it, and then the contracts would be signed in such a manner. Oh, that's one. Second one is the lot of these assets also include land, and when it's land, you and many of us would know that there will be a lot of litigations. So the party should be aware of it. Three, government do not want a monopolies to be created of it, so the licenses would be drafted in such a manner. Four, since there are so many parties involved, it's the union governments, state governments, the public sector units, the public at large, and several other stakeholders. So there could be a lot of public interest litigations, the bills, and not just the bills. There could be a lot of other litigations that come during this course of asset monetization. So the parties or the institutions who are interested in this particular investing in the asset monetization should be well aware of these factors.